I'm Sally Barkow, and this is the Sailing Show on Wisp Sports Radio. This sailing show is co-produced between the Magenta Project and Wisp Sports, where we believe women in sport deserve equal coverage. I'm here in Itajai, Brazil, with Stacey Jackson of Vestas 11th Hour Racing and Bianca Cook of Turn the Tide on Plastic, both ashore from Leg 7 in the Volvo Ocean Race. Today we will hear their thoughts on the race so far and what the future looks like. You had kind of a tough race so far, and a particularly tough leg coming in here to Itajai. Can you just fill us in on the troubles that you guys incurred this last leg, and maybe a little update on where your team is at the moment?
Yeah, leg 7 from New Zealand to Brazil was a fairly difficult one, it's safe to say. We survived through the Southern Ocean through some pretty horrendous weather, relentless for 12 days. It took us to get to Cape Horn, to only be a matter of hours around Cape Horn when our mast broke. Something's failed within the rigging, which we're not sure of what's happened, and it broke in half and fell over the side of the yacht. From there, we had a series of setbacks, trying to sort of get ourselves back to Brazil in order to compete in the next leg. We ended up in the Falkland Islands for 8 days, and then we have managed to arrive in time. We've re-prepared the boat, we have a new mast in the boat, and we've even been for a test sail with 2 days spare for the leg start. So we're all set to go again, and for us it's a clean slate. We get to start again, and we get to go back out there and keep trying to win each individual race now rather than the overall race.
Yeah, well, we're really happy to see you guys all here and your boat ready to go. And can you just describe a little bit what that fear is like in the moment when the rig comes down, and what it's like maybe stepping back on the boat knowing that, the worst can happen in different conditions?
Yeah, unfortunately, we've learnt this leg that the worst can happen. There's been a number of dramas so far this race from at every level. Personally, for me, I wasn't actually on deck when the rig fell down, but looking at the destruction that it causes on the boat and within the crew, it really does highlight the danger of the sport that we are competing in.
And, like you've described, you've had a really long race so far, and just thinking physically, how you guys are as a team, and what sort of challenges you go through. Now we're, 3/4 away around the world. You're all used to, the regimen of working out in the gym and something stable, and now you've been on the boat for an extended period of time. How are you guys holding up physically? What does your body feel like?
Physically, I think our team is in a pretty good way. I personally am feeling fairly good, actually, probably physically stronger and more well than I was at this point in the previous race, even with all the setbacks that we've had. For sure, the physical side of it, I think at this point in the race is a lot easier than the mental side of it.
And Bianca, we'll go to you next. You guys also had some setbacks on this last leg. You sustained some damage, but were able to finish the race in quite a high position. Can you kind of go through what happened to you guys and what it was like to actually complete the leg?
Yeah, for us, a lot of our team, it was our first time going from Auckland up to Brazil and going around the Horn, so, that was an awesome thing to kind of tick off your bucket list. It was pretty tough conditions, but this, despite our setbacks, was one of our best legs so far. We got around the Horn. We were there with Matt Frey and with Axo Noble. Unfortunately, Matt Frey had their issues of their own. We came around, and then we also spotted that we had a bit of a rig issue. We went to go from reef to full main, and all the rigging went a little bit slack, and so we were sailing with a less sail area for a little while whilst Liz was trying to figure out the situation. We had a bit of an issue with one of the spreader routes, but we managed to get that fixed and up sailing again, and we actually got stuck in a bit of a high system. So we came in fourth, but it would have been nice to have been battling it out for third, but like I said, this was our best leg so far.
Yeah, and I can just imagine in the moment the shock of seeing the rig going loose and trying to figure out what was wrong. Like, how did it work in the team with coping with something quite adverse right in that moment?
Well, straight away, Liz and Dee both took control of the situation. It was pretty gut-wrenching to realise that we could have a massive issue on our hands, but we just got all the sails down, got the boat nice and flat, and we had Brian just helming the boat and Liz trying to take control and figure out what was going on. To start off with, we were all pretty gutted. You're going really hard for so long, and then all of a sudden you kind of stop. But no, it was good to get it all fixed and back up and running again.
And amongst the team, it's quite a unique scenario you have. You have a fully mixed crew. In this leg, and so far, you've gone, like I said, 3/4 of the way around the world. Do you see any differences sailing in this mixed crew? Any positives, any negatives you'll take forward?
I think we're really lucky in that we have a female skipper, and having the mixed crew is an advantage or a disadvantage depending on how you look at it. We're really smart in the way that we run our team. We work on our strengths and our weaknesses, and we always work really hard together. And if anything, the guys work hard, and it makes us girls want to work even harder. So we really push ourselves and try and get on their same level. But yeah, at the end of the day, this race is more mentally challenging than it is physically challenging. So definitely got a lot of lessons to take forward for this next leg, and we know that we're good in light breeze and we know that we're good in lots of breeze, so we just got to sort out that little bit in between.
And how hard do you feel like pushing to the end of the race?
I'm definitely going to up the intensity. The race is not that far from being over, but we've still got 4 very intense legs to go, so definitely going to be pushing as hard as we can.
Cool, that's great. We really look forward to watching you guys, climb the ladder even further. Just one last one for you, Bianca. What advice, this is your first time doing the race, but you have plenty of offshore miles before even stepping foot into this race, but what sort of advice would you give to a young, aspiring female sailor who wants to be a part of this part of the sport or excel in their career?
For me personally, my track to getting into the Volvo Ocean Race is a little bit different to everybody else. My best piece of advice would be get out there, do as much sailing as you possibly can, get your offshore miles, get the experience, get your tickets, and just put yourself out there and don't underestimate your abilities.
Yeah, great, and we look forward to seeing a lot more women in the race in the future. Okay, Stace, 1 or 2 more for you here, but you completed the last race and now you're with a really solid team this race. What do you see any differences between the last race and this race as you're going through?
Interestingly, we're all saying that the physical challenge of this race isn't nearly as demanding as the emotional challenge. Obviously, the physical side of it is all still there, and in fact, we've had harder weather and we've been working our bodies to a much higher standard than we were last race. But I just think that all the challenges this race has produced so far, the emotional side of it actually outweighs, overrides what our mind thinks is the tougher of the two elements to face.
Yeah, and you can feel that from watching ashore too. I think it's been quite an emotional race to be around. I guess lastly, Stacey, what do you think about looking towards the future? What do you think this race has the potential to do for women in the sport, for women in this race as it looks forward?
Well, I think just in the short period of time between the last edition and this edition of the race, we went from having one complete female crew, which was, we had up to 16 girls on our team, to now there's a female on every boat. There's at least 2 females on every boat. So, first of all, a female will win the Volvo Ocean Race, which has never ever happened and never was considered possible to happen. So already that's a massive leap forward. There's also, Bianca's team has a 50-50 ratio on board with a female skipper, which is also a massive step forward. What we need to see now is that it progresses again into the next race. Right now, the females are on board because it's a rule. It's you can fill the quota of women. What would be nice is eventually that's not a rule, and that people actually choose to take females on board because they have the skill and they have the experience, and that is being produced right now between this race and the previous edition.
Well said. Thank you very much, Stacey and Bianca, for your time. We wish you both very well in the next leg up to Newport, Rhode Island, and for the remainder of the race. In other Magenta Project news, we are quite excited to announce that the Magenta team of all-women crew will participate in the Groupama New Caledonia race this coming June. So check out the Facebook page because there's application process and a lot more information about how you can actually be a part of that team. That concludes our show today. Thank you for listening, and please continue to follow us on our website and social media at the Magenta Project. And keep up to date on women's sports in general, not just sailing. Check out the WIS Sports online. We'll be back in Newport during the next stopover for more news and interviews. Until then, thanks for listening.